umpire. Sounds like she was out in the field maybe. And
making $20,
yeah,
25
right?
bucks probably.
She had done it for 10 plus years, right? So obviously it's something she enjoyed. And
$40 maybe.
One of the parents, right? One of the parents had got ejected, and I should take that back. Wasn't ejected. It was asked to leave by one of the coaches for profane language.
So the umpire didn't even ask the parents.
One of the coach said, "Hey, you got to go." I'm sure
female parent or male parent.
Female
parent. Asked to leave for foul language. That's something I've never done. Well, let me just get that out there right now.
I mean,
so
you can have some colorful language, right?
Coach asked her to leave.
So that's it, done, right? So after the game, the parent. Now think about this. You have time to think about what you're going to do. It's not the heat of the moment kind of thing.
That's premeditated,
right? You have some time to calm down, right? And the parent, who is identified, I guess, as Kiera Thomas, walked up to this umpire, Christy Moore, and punched her in the face after this confrontation, and caused after she punched her, apparently she ran away. So I don't know.
And everyone's going to know who you are. You're a parent,
right?
I mean,
but in this, she suffered a severe contusion and nerve damage to her left eye. Nobody signs on for this. I mean, come on, nerve damage to her left eye. And again, like we talked about, is that permanent disfigurement? Is it permanent disability? Which it is. But she was charged with simple assault.
What state was that?
This is Mississippi. So Thomas was charged with simple assault.
So I bet you, did this case spur on legislation trying to get enhancement?
It didn't really say, but it looks like they were saying.
When was that?
This is from April 14th.
So this was recent,
yeah. And
I bet you it was one of them.
I'm sure. I mean, it made news. It made the national news. Yeah. I remember seeing it. And they tried to, I guess in Mississippi, they introduced a bill making it a felony to assault a referee or umpire. Now, when we say assault, Florida's a little different. Florida, assault means like a verbal threat, and a lot of places assault means the actual act of hitting somebody or touching somebody.
Here we call it battery.
Right.
Yeah.
So they want to make it a felony, aggravated assault to hit or assault a referee or umpire.
Absolutely should. Every state should have that.
Apparently, it didn't make the calendar, I guess, to get onto a vote. So I don't know what's going on with it now, but you need it. They need that protection. And again, I mean, who signs on for nerve damage to her eye? She seems like a very nice person. I mean, you look at the interviews with her and stuff. She's like, she's not going to be dissuaded from doing it. She wants to keep doing it because it's something she really loves. So again, this is somebody out there. These parents don't understand that. These coaches, and the coaches, when they behave badly, it's different too. But, you've got coaches, you've got umpires or referees. These people are giving their time. Granted, they're getting compensated, but
not
they're giving
lot.
Their time. Yeah. So your kid can play in a sport that maybe gets them a college scholarship or something like that. You need all these people to be involved, or you're not going to have the game,
Absolutely.
The league.
And I already read the stat. How many people don't want to do it anymore?
No, exactly. So, do you want to, here's the thing, again, do you want to have quality, or do you want to just have that? And again, I'm not saying a 16-year-old can't do the job well, but you want somebody that 10 plus years of experience. You want somebody that
they're doing the best they can.
Sure, they are.
I refed. You're gonna miss calls. I mean, you watch Major League Baseball, watch NBA, any sport, they miss calls. You're human.
Well,
no one's perfect.
No, and I think at the end of the day, we keep losing. At the end of the day, we keep losing the fact that it's a game. It's supposed to be fun, and I understand. Like, I go back to that. I can't even remember the teams, but it was that one pass interference call. And they were supposed to go to
which one, Brian?
No, it was like they were supposed to go to Super. It's all over the news. They were supposed to go to the Super Bowl, or if they had won, was it the Falcons or the Saints or somebody? And it was a obvious pass interference call, and they didn't call it. And it was in like the end of the game, so they couldn't do the.
It was the Saints.
Saints, right, right, and they couldn't do the replay because they were within that time
limit. You don't pass interference isn't. You don't replay.
Okay,
it's not.
And I mean, that guy was getting like
reviewable
death threats and stuff.
I know.
And it's like,
and the funny thing with that one, I don't.
It was a blown call. It was a pretty bad blown call.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing for people out there that watch sports on TV. Okay, if you look at something in super slow mo, okay, you can always make it look like, oh my God, that was clear cut pass interference, or he totally caught the ball on the sideline. How did they miss that? Try doing it in real speed. Yeah. On the field with your eyes, real time, bang, bang. You got to make the call. Right. They do the best they can.
Right.
They do the best they can. Some referees are better than others, but they do the best they can.
Hey, you know what? The game did just fine with. I mean, I'm not for or against or whatever instant replay, so don't get at me. But I mean, the game was okay before they had it, and it's one of those things like play the game. And maybe it's easy for me to say because I wasn't so much of an athlete. I didn't have that competitive.
I mean, I don't have a problem with replay as long and they've gotten better with it. At the end of the day,
At the end of the day,
you idiot.
we do a drinking game.
You want to get the call right. So our
of course.
Now talking about getting calls right. The last one, this just happened again. And this was in Texas. Not that everything was in Texas, but this was just on the news. So you can probably Google it.
Google
10-year-old select baseball game. So we're talking about 10-year-olds, right?
10 years old, yes.
There's a play at the plate.
Yep.
Player slides in. Umpire calls him safe. There's a video out there. Looks safe to me.
Oh, yeah. He looks
safe
to
to
me
you.
too. Yeah.
Coach from the team where he thought he was out comes out. The umpire basically calls him safe, and then he's brushing the plate off, getting ready for the next batter. The coach comes out. He kind of walks out. Doesn't look irate, and he gets into words with the umpire, and you can see the umpire kind of takes a couple steps away, and the coach kind of follows him. I'm not sure what the coach said, but it's 10-year-old baseball. Yeah. So the umpire says, "You're gone." He ejects him.
Right.
All of a sudden, the coach just a two-handed shove, I would say, but I mean a forced one to the umpire's like neck face area, and just puts the guy on his backside. And it just was horrible. And the umpire said he is pressing charges, so the coach will be charged with assault. I think Texas is one of those ones where it's assault. And they've since interviewed the coach, which if you got a legal case going, you probably shouldn't talk to the media.
But
just don't
say
favor. Anything. Yeah. Just hire a lawyer. But he did say, "Listen, I'm sorry."
Well, I mean, he's dead to rights.
Well, yeah, he goes, "I assaulted the guy.
He wanted to apologize.
So I give the guy credit for that. He lost his, again, you know what? But you just can't do it. And then there's a really good news story out on it where the president of that league talks and says, "Hey, we're just getting away from what we're supposed to do, and which is fun for the kids and educate the kids, and we're doing this in front of these kids, and we got to do better."
Yeah.
And that goes for everybody, So if you're one of those parents, take it from me. Just learn, right? Learn. Get better. Support your kids. I know it's not easy. You want to yell. But there's absolutely no excuse for abusing a referee, an umpire, a player, whether it's a player on your team, your kid, another team, or a coach, right?
Right.
It's kind of, goes round and round and round of different people that get abused verbally or physically.
I know we're trying to wrap up, but let me ask you a question. Again, you're the athlete in this duo here. I was not, but as an athlete that has children or teenagers or young women now that are athletes, how much of it is where these parents are living? We call it living vicariously through the child. Is that something that you got a sense of when you were watching?
Someone just texted me something.
You got a sense of when you were. Did it happen? Did you find yourself ever going there? I wouldn't think so because you didn't play soccer, you played football, so it might be a little different. But
yeah, no. Listen,
this living through your children, how much of that do you think causes this behavior?
I thank God Almighty every day, believe it or not, that and not saying that I would have done that. But God blessed me with two beautiful girls, right?
Right.
And so they don't care that Dad played college football, pro football. Dad talks about college football. They could care less.
Right.
Couldn't care less. Let me say that right. People get mad when you say that wrong. Could not care less. But so again, my whole thing with them in sports is your effort.
Right.
Being a good sport, being a good, good teammate, doing the best you can, being committed. Control what you control. I say that a lot. That's all I want them to do. So yeah, I don't have a boy where, maybe a grandson down the road, but I'll be really mellow by then.
Yeah.
And so I would like to hope that even if I had a son, that those are the same values I kind of try to instill on my daughters. I would do that with my boys. But I do agree with you. There's a lot of parents who want to live vicariously through their kids, especially when they get a kid that's a standout in a sport and being told they're a standout. I already talked about this. Kind of fits into the whole, like, when you're an elite high school player or club player and you're getting recruited and you're just told, you're the best thing since white bread and you can't mess up, and it's just like, you're good. And you get to college and everybody's good.
Sure.
And you don't know how to handle that, right?
Sure.
You don't know how to handle failure.
Right.
And it's, and a lot of times it's the parents, and then they say, well, it's not you, it's the coaches. The coaches should be playing you. And then they transfer because the parents say, no, you're great. It's not you, it's the coaches. And so they just, sometimes you got to tell your parents, yeah, that too. Sometimes you got to tell your kids tough, realistic things.
Like, that's life, right? I mean, that's what sports supposed to teach, isn't it?
So, but yes, I agree with you in what you say. That in instances like that where
you just look at these examples and you look at these parents and you go, how much of your self-identity are you putting into your child playing youth sports, for God's sakes? Your kid's 10 years old.
And I think, and that goes hand in hand with the behavior towards referees or even towards coaches for that matter, because there's that sense of entitlement we talked about where my kid's the best. That was a double he hit. How dare you call him out at second base? He was clearly safe. He was not out. And people lose their mind. And I use that as an example. You know what I mean? Or my kid's a elite pitcher, and he strikes 12 people out a game. What do you mean? That's not a ball. That's a strike. You
correct me if I'm wrong, but that one bad call is not going to stop your kid from getting some.
Absolutely
if that kid's that good of an athlete,
absolutely not.
Guy or girl, they're not going to get stopped from getting some scholarship because of a bad call by some referee.
Behavior,
right? I mean, you tell me I'm wrong.
That unsavory behavior by parents, whether it's verbal or God forbid physical,
right,
sets such a bad example for their son or daughter, or even another player that's watching that then thinks, then especially if they get away with it, right? Then they think, well, I can abuse the ref or the umpire. I can say whatever I want because, my mom did it or my dad did it or Jimmy's mom or dad did it or Sheila's mom or dad did it.
I'll try coaching that kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the one thing that I kind of talked to myself through during this is it's kind of a vicious cycle.
Sure it is.
That needs to be stopped. And again, I think it stops with proper punishment when you step over those lines and those boundaries. And I think we all know where those are. And so hopefully the powers to be and the states across the country will take it serious because it is an issue. And again, I think some of this can bleed into the mental health aspect of the entitlement of, I'm always succeeding. And so I didn't get my way and I didn't get the call. And it's just, again. I
think it's two sides to the same coin, really. I mean, you talk about from the suicide to the egregious behavior, it's two sides to the same coin. And you're looking at, one end of it, you're so wrapped up in it and everything that you think you have to take your life if you're not succeeding in it. And then the other end of it, you're so wrapped up in it that if somebody makes a bad call, they're basically breaking you down and, to a point where you can't handle it. You see red, so.
And I'll say it, and I've said it on this podcast. I've said it on multiple podcasts. And I think it's a lesson you can use with officials too. Control what you can control.
Yeah.
Like if you feel a referee, an umpire did not make the proper call, you can't control that. All you can control is your attitude, your mindset, how you deal with it.
Yeah.
And go play the next play or the next minute or whatever sport you're in, the next out. Just play the best you can.
Yeah.
And that's it. You control what you control. And I think parents can learn that lesson too. You can't control anything, parents, that a referee, umpire does or a coach does.
Nope.
Okay? You can control yourself.
What happened?
We got another
come over?
podcaster. Well, we're ending anyway. That's Cooper. My mini golden doodle. That's black and gray. He's Merle. He's awesome.
He's a good dog.
I needed another dog like a hole in the head. He sleeps in my office because when he was a puppy, he was crate trained in here, so he thinks this is his room. And he just woke up. My daughter probably came in the office, but I think it's a good time to
he's saying it's time
to say goodbye. But again, thank you for listening. Go back now. We got a bunch of episodes. If you just found us, Brian,
we have merch now too.
Got us some great new T-shirts. Tell everyone where they came from.
I don't even know. My girlfriend got them for
Your girlfriend Jeannie got them for us, but it's our logo.
It's like it's like, remember when you were in like in the late 70s, early 80s, the deck of tees, you get the little...
Yeah.
It kind of looks like that. It's like some white Hanes T-shirt with our logo on it, but it's pretty darn comfortable.
Someone told me they enjoyed that the dogs were in here. That's why we'll let them bark for the last minute or two. But so I'm going to be putting my tee on. We'll take a picture. I'll put it on Twitter. But please, if you're new to us, Give us 5 stars. Give us that rating. It helps us move up the